Good Friday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majestic back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Weather Studios with the Weather Report, the North Georgia edition, exclusively for you Facebook subscribers and YouTube members here on your February the 6th, 2026. And also just happens to be Friday free sampler, so everybody on both Facebook and YouTube get an opportunity to take a look at our weekday weather brief and a chance for you to go ahead and come on board and become a subscriber as well as a member here on the channel. All right, as you can see, a beautiful sunrise there across Dahlonega for this morning. Say goodbye to those clouds, those pesky snow flurries from yesterday, and we're in store for a milder day today. In fact, I went ahead and revised the temperatures up a little bit. Now, for this update, we're going to talk about the cool down we're going to have for the weekend. That's still in the cards, but we're also still tracking that February thaw and some revisions as far as the long-range forecast. A little frustration here with the fact that we keep trending like we're going to get wetter, and then it pulls it back. It's been doing that repeatedly here for most of the winter, and we just can't seem to break this pattern where we're not getting enough rain on regular intervals, and I'll explain that here in just a second. Let's first take a look here at the surface map. It is chilly. It is nippy out there as temperatures are sitting here in the 20s. You got 26 degrees up there in Blairsville, looking over near Calhoun at 25, down here in metro Atlanta area sitting at 31. So a frosty start out there. It's also going to be a bit breezy this afternoon, folks. We're going to have a westerly wind. The reason why the temperatures are being revised upward is because of the wind and the fact that the cold front is going to be delayed a few hours. That's going to allow us to really warm up. Some areas may actually get close to 60 degrees, but again, this is temporary because we are going to cool down here for the weekend. So watches and warnings. We do have some higher winds advisories up there into the Carolinas. No official wind advisory for us tomorrow, or for today for that fact, but just under advisory criteria. But it will be a bit breezy out there today and probably lingering into tomorrow as well. Now, the radar is clear, expected to remain that way. We really don't see any major significant rains over the next 7 days. That significant rain we're hoping for next Friday and Saturday, it's revised big time down. And the rainfall totals the next 10 days, when I show you down on the model, it's just really disappointing. We really need some additional rains in here. Unfortunately, we're just not going to get a whole lot. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the model data here. We're going to take a look at the North American NAM model. That's our intermediate model here, as we kind of watch what goes on this weekend, as we watch for this cold front to come on in. It is going to bring some snows up into the Carolinas. Yesterday was hinting at sneaking into North Georgia, but today's run not showing all that much. So still couldn't rule out a flurry there, maybe up toward Raven County, maybe going in for tomorrow, but heading into tonight and into tomorrow morning, but really not going to amount to anything. But again, you see that freezing line sitting right there next to Georgia and the Carolinas. Look how packed this is in here. So there's some pretty cold Arctic air up to our north and east, and that's what's going to cool us down here for Saturday. A lot of areas won't get out of the 40s. Even some of the mountain locations may not get out of the 30s here on your Saturday. And then we'll see things begin to lessen up as we go into Sunday. Going into Sunday, those blue lines start to pull away as we begin to moderate a bit going into your Saturday. So we'll be back into the 50s for a lot of places on going into Sunday, from Saturday to Sunday. So 40s on Saturday, Sunday looking at 50s back in here. And then going to next week, that's when you're really going to feel the nice warm up, as temperatures will get back in the 60s. And the European is still hinting at some places getting into the 70s this upcoming week. I'm going to show you that here in a second. Now let's go look at our forecast. High temperatures today. Again, you can kind of see here where we got temperatures here in the 60s here to the west, even here into these upper 50s, over toward Athens, for example. We're still seeing the lower 50s up here across areas of North Georgia, but generally looking pretty good today, milder than what we've seen here compared to yesterday, that's for sure. Now, watch what happens here as we go into your Saturday morning. It's going to be a bit nippy, folks, a bit on the chilly side. So we're going to start here on your Saturday morning. Got temperatures here in the 20s once again, around 30. Very similar to what we're seeing outside this morning. So it'll be a bit cold, and it's going to be a bit breezy too. So we'll still have some wind. That wind chill is going to be around here for tomorrow morning. So when you look at the apparent temperature here, yeah, a little bit of a bite there. Look at 11 degrees up there. This gray up into the mountains are below zero. So it's going to be a bit chillier because of those winds that'll be around here for tomorrow morning. And then your daytime highs, they're going to struggle a bit. Obviously, look at this. We got, again, showing 30s up in the mountains, 40s for everybody else here. It's going to be a nippy. This is the high resolution model that's showing that. So this is a little bit colder than one I've got for our highs tomorrow, but definitely going to be a colder day. And then they'll set up for a pretty frigid start on Sunday morning. And then we'll see, again, the rebound and those temperatures going into next week. Let's look at the big jet stream pattern here, okay? Now, this is our river of air that flows across the country, drives the weather from west to east. It's going to be a very, what we call a zonal flow. we're not going to see those big troughs and ridges that kind of bring you the more substantial part of storm systems. So we see in the northwest flow right now. This is our northwest flow right here. This is what's been bringing us that colder air. So we got this flow coming down to like this. So with that flow being there, that's going to stay into the weekend, but it's going to start to move on out to the east. And as it does so, we're going to see some westerly winds and ridging taking place. So the big storm system is going to be pretty much gone. So you see the northern branch here, way up here to the north. This is our subtropical, which is starting to get a little more active. That's why we're thinking we're going to get more precipitation. We're just not quite seeing it just yet. And looks like that ridging just kind of holds into here for the week. So it looks like milder weather for this week. Big trough out on the west. Now, see that big ridging? Look at that huge ridge here. Again, coming over this way. So again, we're going to be on the mild side of this going into Thursday. And that big dip in the jet stream we thought we were going to see going into Friday, we're not seeing it there. I mean, there's a little bit of that trough digging right there off the eastern seaboard, but it's digging here. So it's digging off here instead of digging back here. So that's a big difference. So we're not going to see the substantial storm system. We'll see a cool down next weekend. The way it's tracking out, that's still in the cards, but we're not going to get any decent rains. And then the ridging comes right back in again behind this. It's very active out on the west coast, but we get the ridging here. And again, look at this. It's a very fast zonal flow. No big storm systems in here with that kind of setup. So you really need those big dips in the jet stream to help generate the type of storms you need to bring you some more substantial rains, and we're just not seeing it, at least here on the long range on today's run. It's always subject to change, obviously, when we're trying to get a projection. And then beyond 7 days anyway, it's kind of an extrapolation. Again, weather's like a set of dominoes, and if one domino don't fall after that, everything after it doesn't mean anything. So, all right, so that's what we're looking at on the jet stream. And we'll look at here at the 500 millibar height anomaly map. Again, the oranges and reds are your high pressure zones. The blue is where you get the blue and greens is when you get your low pressures. And you really don't see a whole lot here as this thing's looping on through here going in for the next couple of weeks. It's pretty sublime, to be honest with you, pretty quiet. So limited rain chances. It's going to keep us on the dry side. And it looks like above normal temperatures outside, maybe one brief cool down next weekend. That's going to be about it. And then we'll see things stay on the dry side through the month of February, which is not a good thing. Still looking at below normal precipitation here. So here's our forecast maps here. Let's go through this again. We got the stuff coming in for this weekend. Obviously, we got that chill down that's coming in. Let me back this up too fast. A little quick. All right, so you can see the snows there across areas for today up toward areas of East Tennessee into the Carolinas. That'll kind of move on through, and we've seen the blue line that's going to give way. In fact, it's going to go on retreat. It's going to be moving on out as we go into next week. Look at it, say bye-bye, getting on out of here, moving on out. So we got the westerly winds and warmer weather coming on back in here going in towards your Monday, and that is going to be sticking around, folks. I mean, really, we don't have anything substantial. Tuesday's quiet. You might get some showers. I got a slight chance going into Wednesday here. We might get a few showers on Wednesday here, but again, nothing substantial, nothing heavy here at all. And Thursday, maybe a few showers possibly there as well. Right now, I'm waiting to get another model run. And so it's still showing next Friday, the chance to bring in some decent rain, bring in some rains in here. But again, that's not a lot. We're talking, maybe a quarter inch out of that for next Friday. And then this kind of clears on out. There's the cool down. So there's the blue line coming back at us here again for that brief cool down in next weekend. But again, it pulls out quickly. It pulls on out and stays away as we go through the next 10 days. So only one decent rain chance is on that Friday. And even then, the rainfall amounts are not that impressive. So look here at your 10-day total here. This is your 10-day totals. And you got, maybe a quarter, maybe half inch in there for the next 10 days. That's just not going to cut it, folks. We definitely need some additional rains in here. All right. Now, as far as the temperatures are concerned, that's a big part of this story as well. Here, going in here for the next 10 days. So this is your Saturday. Again, we're going to struggle into 30s and 40s here across the area. And then going into your Sunday morning, it's going to be pretty nippy. As you can see, Sunday morning, we're seeing most areas down to the 20s. You see here's 22, 25, 25, 25, low to mid 20s here across North Georgia here on your Sunday morning. It'll be cool on Sunday afternoon, but it will recover a little bit. So I still see some 50s start to pop back in here at 49, 50s. But see all this orange out here? This is going to be coming our way going into next week. So going into your Monday morning, not as cold. All right, still in the 30s, but not as cold. So think about those 20s. And then your Monday afternoon, yeah, it's going to feel nice. Look at that, back in the 60s. Look at this. 60s, get some of these 70s back off to the west, and that's going to increase, folks. Look at it, going into your Tuesday afternoon. There's the 60s again, going into your Wednesday afternoon. Well into the 60s. Here's a 71, 68, 64, 70s down across central Georgia there on Wednesday. So much milder there. And then going into your Thursday, still holding in the 60s. Now we got this cold front. This is going to be sinking southward coming into Friday. So it's going to start sinking southward with that chance of rain. So it's going to cool us back off going into the next weekend. There we go. We see the 40s and 50s kind of coming back in on Friday. So we got a pretty good thaw for the whole week. And then we got a cool down here briefly going into next weekend. So you see the 20s returning next Saturday. See next Saturday coming back in here. And then we're kind of seeing daytime highs 40s to right around 50 degrees, kind of cold there. But it's again, this is going to be brief. It'll be next weekend. It'll be chilly like this weekend for all that matters. And then going into Monday, now following week, we'll see things begin to warm back up again. So here comes the 60s coming back at us again. And then Tuesday, again, warming back up. So the trend is a warming trend once we get by this one little cold snap. So taking a look at your climate outlook here, again, for the totality of everything, it is above normal. Here on the 6 to 10 day outlook, and again on the 8 to 14 day outlook. Still looking with temperatures running above normal right through the 19th of February. So this may linger straight to the end of I've been suggesting that we might see a change with some colder weather toward the end of the month, going into that last week of February. Not seeing it yet, but right now the warm trend is holding in place. Now, the one area I do disagree here with the climate centers are bringing above normal precipitation in here the next 6 to 10 days. I just showed you the 10-day total. Quarter inch of rain, that's not enough. So that's clearly a drier pattern here. So this might have to get updated. If the 12Z run turns wetter, I'm all for it. Hopefully it does. But the last two runs in the European have both been fairly dry. And then it does try to get us wetter here on the 2-week outlook here from the 13th to the 19th. So that's what we're seeing right there. So a quick look at your forecast here for the next 7 days. Again, we're breathing a little milder today, colder tomorrow. Cold in the Sunday morning, but we're back in the 60s here on going into next week. And then question mark on that day. Right now, I got big question marks on day 6 and 7 on that. So we'll see what happens. Right now, I think I'm pretty locked in here for the next 5 days. Pretty much set as we go into the 60s. And we think about those freezing temperatures here for a little while. So not looking too bad there. Again, appreciate you guys checking us out here on your Friday morning. Hope you guys have a great and safe weekend. I will be filling in at Fox 5 here on Saturday and Sunday morning from 5 to 8 and 5 to 8:30 on your Sunday. You can check us out there. Of course, it's Super Bowl weekend as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy the sunshine at least. It'll still be a bit on the cool side, but after 2 weekends of winter storms and being kind of cooped up, overall, it's not too bad this weekend, even if it's a little cool outside. All right, that's it. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next week on Monday. You guys have a great and safe weekend. Bye-bye.